December 5th, 2009, Alabama beat Tim Tebow and the Gators in the SEC title game. It was also the last time Bama was an underdog. They've been favored in every game since. That's 54 straight games. The record is 58. Try to wrap your mind around that. 54 consecutive games as a favorite. Ray Crawford here with managing editor Pete Fiutak. Also joining us, our Alabama insider Chris Stewart, to help us put this remarkable run of dominance in some historical perspective. And Chris, where does this dynasty rank among all-time teams there at Alabama?
You know, to me, that's one of the real keys to this, Ray, is when you're talking historically, where is it not just nationally, but within the confines of the Alabama campus. You go back to the 60s, that stretch from 64 and 65, back-to-back national titles. They were perfect in 66, but only finished third in the national polls behind Notre Dame and Michigan State. Coach Bryant, another great run in the 70s. In fact, I think it was 77 through 80. Where they went 44-4, claimed 3 SEC titles and 2 national championships as well. Certainly, this run that Nick Saban has going with 3 national titles over about the last 5 years, it's pretty impressive, and it's why Bama fans right now speak of this time with such reverence, because they do understand it's right there among 2 of the best all time that Coach Bryant had.
Oh, it's better. It's a better run overall than what Coach Bryant had. If you look at what they've had to go against in the BCS era, SEC championships, all the factors that go against, the larger schedules, the better teams, the better recruiting, the better national scope. What they have to do to play for the national championship now is far tougher. And if you think about it, there's 2 ways to look at what Alabama's doing. One, they caught a couple of major breaks. Oklahoma State probably should have played for the 2011 national title. And yeah, they caught a big break in 2012, and Oregon just barely got by. Just lost to Stanford in that close overtime game. But outside of that, there's the Tebow game where he went nuts in the fourth quarter in 2008, and you had the Davis game of last year. Those 2 go the other way, we might be talking about an Alabama team that's shooting for a 6th national title in 7 years. Now, historically, Oklahoma, that 47-game winning streak in the 1950s, that's just as strong. But to put this in perspective, over that run, that Oklahoma team played 18 games against teams that finished with winning records. Alabama, in the last 3 years, have beaten 19 teams that have finished with winning records. This is the best era in the history of college football.
Wow, so Oklahoma, a great stretch. You talked about, Chris, that run by Alabama in the late 70s going into 1980. Let's take a look, though, again at this current stretch here by Alabama and some impressive numbers over the 54 games consecutively that they have been favored. In that time, their record is 47-7. They have covered the spread 32 times, and they've been favored by 20 or more points in 28 of those 54 games. So, Chris, as we turn the page and look ahead here, what does the future hold now for this Alabama program?
I don't see it slowing down anytime soon. As long as Nick Saban is in charge, I think that run will continue. Can they be as dominant? I don't know, but this is a team that if you look at 2 losses for them, it will be considered a bad year. If they're not in contention, if they're not in the Final Four or right there on the verge of it, it will be considered a letdown.
Letdown's a disaster. They either win the national championship or the season's a complete disaster for them. That's where the program is set right now. That's where the bar is now. And you mentioned it, as long as Nick Saban is in charge. Where do dynasties fall flat? Whether it's Florida State, whether it's Miami, whether it's USC, either the coach has to change, or there's some sort of coach is about to be on its way out, or there's an NCAA violation of some sort. So, in the new world of the NCAA and how things are going, I don't think Alabama's probably going to get hit with any NCAA violations or anything major like that. And so, it's basically, when's Saban going to be done, and when's that transition going to happen, if it happens, to the Lane Kiffin era at some point. That's where these dynasties end up falling.
No, I agree completely, and he doesn't show any signs of letting up. I think this is where he will finish his career, and while I don't think it's going to be another 10 years, I think he's got more than a couple left in him.
All right, well, the pipeline is full. We know that. The #1 recruiting class this year.
The Cleveland job's going to be open in 2 years. He's going to have one more shot at it.
Well, Scout.com already has them with the #1 recruiting class for next year as well. So
Absolutely.
The talent keeps coming to Tuscaloosa. Chris, great to have you as always. Few, thanks very much. Will Utah State Chucky Keaton be among the Heisman finalists in New York? A summer look at the Mountain West on CampusInsiders.com.